Hey, this is Samantha, and welcome to Stuff Mom Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio. And once again, we are still Anney-less as she is still on jury duty. This is October 2024. If you want to put a timestamp, like maybe 3 years down the road, you're listening to this and you're like, Anney's on jury duty? What? Who's Anney? Because who knows who's going to be here, right? It's definitely going to be Anney, not me, but whatever. All of that to say, we are Anney-less today, but don't fret, as again, today we are joined once again by the lovely and multi-talented, very busy super producer, guest co-host, Christina.
Hello. Thank you for all the nice words. I have a few talents, maybe. Yeah.
You have so many talents. And you're wearing so many hats, especially this week, because we've gotten you running around doing so many things, including keeping me in line, actually on mic.
It's an honor. Filling in for Anney is an honor, and being with you is another honor.
Aw. Thank you. Yes, we miss Anney, but we know that she has got to do what she's got to do. So therefore, we've got to do what we've got to do. And we have the privilege of just actually hanging, because I don't really get to see you much since we record from home. So this has been lovely. Twice in 1 week.
Sometimes I don't even have my camera on, and I've been having it on for these, and it's nice for me. It forces me to put on a better shirt. I'm just wearing a sweatshirt, but like...
Yeah, I'm not going to say, okay, fine. I'm wearing the same shirt that I wore yesterday and the day before yesterday, but I'm clean.
Yeah.
Ish. I've taken showers. Mm-hmm. I'm saying too much. Anyway, we're glad you're here. And I'm glad to see you and talk with you once again. And you're here for a full episode. So it's probably still going to be a shorter one. I say this at the beginning of episodes and then end up being like really, really long. But we're going to say it's the shorter one. We'll see. And we're going to keep it simple. And we're revisiting a topic we've talked a lot about, and it's about gaming. We've talked a lot about it. And I will say, you don't have to worry, because we'll probably talk about it again with Anney with similar same references. As we know, she has a lot of opinions and lots of expertise when it comes to gaming in general. And most likely newish insights on the games we know she loves. I got a lot of good behind-the-scenes information, by the way, Christina, while we were in Seattle. And I know she's been doing quite a lot of replaying, also taking time away to send us pictures of scenes that we visited in Seattle so we could compare.
I love that.
I know, right? So I will say she probably is going to be like, what? Why did you do this one without me? But again, there's so much to talk about when it comes to the gaming world. And it's kind of the show's specialty, not necessarily my specialty, but the show's specialty, because not only does Anney do a lot of gaming, but so do you, right?
Yes, I do. I do love a video game. I do.
And I want to break it down towards the end about your favorite games, because you definitely sent me some recommendations the first time I came on being like, what is cozy games? Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, try these things. And I was like, yeah, that's too competitive.
I know. I'm going to talk about one of them that you're like, I don't know about this. And it's very funny to me that you think that. But
because
it's not wrong. You're not wrong.
I think it's, again, like the level of when I tell y'all, I'm like, no, I don't want to fight things. I don't want to jump off of things. I can't. If I'm going to fall off a cliff, if there's a perchance that I could fall off of something, I'm going to do it. Yeah. If there's a perchance that something's going to kill me, it's going to kill me. Like, don't do this to me.
Yeah.
So those are high risk games that I'm like, this is too stressful. Mm-hmm. But you are in the gaming world, so I'm really glad to have your point of view on this, because we're talking about a few things, because this is kind of a refresher in the statistics in gaming. Like I said, Anney's going to come back. There's a topic that we're going to come at the end that we're probably going to revisit on a bigger scale, because I want to talk names, like about big names within this industry. Mm-hmm. But today I wanted to revisit it because recently a new game that's coming out, that's not even out yet, Ghosts of Yotai, which is a successor to Ghost of Tsushima, and initially, which is a very popular game that I know nothing about. Again, this is one of those competitive, I think, open world games that would stress me out.
I don't know if I've heard of this game. I do love open world games, though.
So this is a Sony game created by Sucker Punch. That's the company. Again, I don't know much about these games. I think this is one of those that, again, it's like people love this game. Mm-hmm. and have very strong feelings about this game. And even though I may not know much about this game, it doesn't mean that it's not showing up on my FYP, my page, For You page specifically. And it's inserted several things, including people's complaints about this game. And usually mine are stitches in which people are complaining about it, and then someone comes around being like, what's wrong with you? Essentially calling those people out. So at the least, I'm on the good side of these complaints. ... Well, again, what little I know about this game is as follows. Ghost of Tsushima is about warriors of feudal Japan, and the Ghost of Yotai follows closely with that, except the new protagonist is a woman, Atsu. And that has a lot of several people angry, apparently. Like, they do not love the fact that it is a woman, with comments of how unrealistic it is to have fictional characters based off of historical Japanese warriors. And the game isn't actually going to be released until next year, 2025. And yes, people are angry because they don't want to play the game as a woman. Literally, the first clip I saw was like this, like, I have to play as a woman? Why do I have to play this woman? Now, you can go back and take a listen to Annie's episodes, or episodes that Anney talks about Last of Us, and the many arguments and comments that people had about that as well, because we know Ellie, especially Last of Us 2, so many sexist, so many like homophobic rants happen because of this specific game. And it has a lot to do similarly with like I'm going to go with GOY, because they fell in love with the original protagonist, who was a dude. And they're like, why can't I be him again? What's happening? I don't like this. And here's some more information from writer and gamer Colin Bish, who wrote an article writing about the misogyny in gaming. This article was published October 4th of this year, so just recently, 2024. He says, the new game set to release on the PlayStation 5 next year introduces a new main character, Atsu, a female Ronin traveling on the island of Hokkaido in 1603, and many became upset with the change in the main character. Sucker Punch created a new lead in the place of the Ghost of Tsushima beloved main character Jin Sakai. And he goes on to talk about the bigger issue with the controversy of this game. Quote, yet the other controversy surrounding the Ghost of Yotai is equally childish and disgusting. The announcement of a female main character in Ghost of Yotai sparked a wave of negative reactions. Twitter became flooded by thousands of comments shouting woke and DEI at the announcement. Twitch streamer Asmongold, with over 3 million followers, even asked his viewers if he could play the game as a man, reflecting the underlying misogyny in the gaming community. So, like, they just went in about how they were so angry about this. And again, we're going to talk about it in a bit, but like, there's so many games with women characters. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, right?
I was going to say that too. Yeah, there's like a lot of really popular games where I don't feel like I've heard that, complaint, but I guess because there was once a male main character, they're more upset now. It still doesn't. This
one creator that he talked about, and this is the video that I did see the stitch of, like, he comes in and complaining about, why can't I play Sakai? What is this? Being upset. And he's not the only one. Like, Twitter was flooded with different comments about, I don't like this. Why is this woman here? And even talks about, women aren't samurais. They were never samurais. This is inaccurate, which is actually not true. But all these different things. And it is said that he is more of a misogynistic, sexist player, and he has a lot of comments against women in general. But yeah, there's characters, like, I remember playing in Street Fighter as different women characters. I remember playing in Mortal Kombat as different women characters. Of course, maybe the difference is that they had the choice to not play the woman. Again, Last of Us was one of the most, especially The Last of Us 2, was one of the most well-received, at the same time, controversial games that we know to date, but it was definitely played as the perspective of two female protagonists / antagonists. It's kind of how you look at it, I guess, which I found interesting. And a lot of the games, and maybe this is where I'm different, because I guess, like, open world games that are really competitive to that harsh level, since I'm a cozy gamer or a mobile gamer, you can, like, choose to be a woman, a man, non-gender, like non-binary, all of those for majority of the games that we play. So perhaps that's why I don't understand this, because I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe they feel like they're being emasculated to pretend to be a woman. Who fight?
You can't make sense of it, really.
Yeah. Anyway, so of course, then there's an added layer to the controversy. Again, much like The Last of Us. Annie's gonna be so upset that I'm mentioning this so much without her. The voice actor Erika Ishii, who portrays the character, identifies as gender fluid, which people have once again argued as a part of this whole woke agenda. Which, again, this is why we can't come away from talking about technology and gaming when it comes to today's conversations, because that term woke/DEI, which has now become almost like a slang. Would you it's come to that point.
What does it stand for again?
DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Oh. And they use that word?
Yes, they use that acronym? As like a negative. Yes, and that's what they say. And it's kind of like they're voice actors.
Yeah.
Point blank.
What does that have to do with
their job?
Character in the game? Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I don't get why you're upset because they identify as something that has nothing to do with you or the game. So it's kind of odd. But again, this is that bigger conversation. And now we have talked about before, and I think we're probably going to bring it back as a classic sometime soon, about women samurais as well as pirates. And yes, though some would not use the term samurai specifically. So I think bishi or bushi is the name for warriors during that time in Japan. They existed. Women warriors existed who fought alongside men in battles during that time in Japan. So I'm not sure why the men are crying out saying this isn't historically accurate. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I don't know where they're coming from other than they're just wanting to hate on something.
Yeah.
Because there are like legendary conversations about both samurai warriors, what would be considered ninjas, like all of these things which have become such a fixture in toxic masculinity somehow, like Vikings along those lines, that they don't realize women were involved. So this whole argument about being historically inaccurate is so bizarre to me anyway.
It's just reaching, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. But it feels like it's just a new way to complain when it's like it's existed. Again, women protagonists in games have always have mainly been there. So I don't understand. Maybe they just really want the Princess Peach ideal still, which is hilarious because they wouldn't consider like Mario Brothers or any of those games to that level of that open world type of thing. Like Zelda, maybe. I don't know. Zelda was the princess, right? Yeah, Link.
Yes.
And you can't really play as Zelda, can you?
There was a recent game that just came out where you can play as her, but it's like a whole different type of game than the most recent open world game was Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Right. And that one you play as Link. And Zelda the princess is in trouble. But a new game came out, and Zelda is the character that you play as, but it's more of a top-down game. It's not as, you know, or maybe open world as that game. But people love it. I hear it's really good.
Do you play Zelda?
Yeah, I played the Tears of the Kingdom game. I loved it.
Are you one that would call Breath of the Wild a cozy game? Because when people say that to me, I want to argue with them, but I have no real basis to argue other than, nuh-uh.
I feel like... for your terms of what you want as a cozy game, no. But it's like cute and but there's fighting. The fighting's hard.
There's bosses. Annie's stuck. I don't know if it's Breath of the Wild. Is it Breath of the Wild that she says she's stuck in? She's like, I can't get past because I made a mistake in this game.
I don't know. Both of them were very similar games. But not the coziest if you're but
so we're putting it on a scale on the spectrum. Okay. And that's fair enough. But yeah, so with all these things, with the games, with the historical context of it all, their argument doesn't really seem to stand. And again, it hasn't come out yet, so we don't know the actual reviews. We know that for those who loved Ghost of Tsushima, they loved it. And there's talks of it becoming a movie. Apparently the director of John Wick is looking at it. I don't know. Those are like a few things I took a glimpse of that I did not study into. So there's that. But yes, sexism within, whether it's towards characters, creators, or gamers, is very much still a problem in the industry. I don't think we expected anything to really change in the last 5 years. But as fast as technology and access to technology and things within technology is changing, you would think there'd be bigger jumps. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem to be. And the insufferable phrase, get back in the kitchen or make me a sandwich, is very much overused when we watch women playing online games with dudes. So I've seen, like, whether it's Call of Duty, I don't know any other online games where you shoot people.
Yeah, I don't like those games,
on teams,
but
right?
Yeah, that's definitely a cesspool. Those online games for sure. And yeah, okay. I mean, it's so tired too. Some of these phrases that the go-to phrase for them, like, you're not even being unique about it.
Right. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense, especially in a world where culinary practices have now been dominated by men because they've realized it makes money for the most part.
Yeah, it's just lazy.
It is. But yeah, that's still very much like every time I see a clip, because again, even though I'm not into online games specifically on PC or any of those collaborative games, I do see like girls having to deal with quietly to the dudes just like, and not to stereotype too much, but they do sound fairly young. I know at one point there was a kid that was like, I think she was able to find him, was like 14 years old and saying all these things. So she called his mother and sent her what he was saying. And it was some really crude stuff. And apparently he got in trouble and had his computer taken away. Wow. But like, it seems to be a younger generation who really think this is masculinity. And I really wish that perspective would change because it's tiresome. And if you are that young, at least be more creative. I don't know.
Yeah.
Make a sandwich doesn't really bode
It's not
well
even
for you.
Like there's a point where those phrases aren't even insulting anymore. It's just like it's telling of the person saying it, you know, regardless of how sexist it is, but like it's not even
lack of
creative.
Imagination.
Yeah. It's like, what?
What are you doing?
So old.
It's so old. Get over it. Come into the new generation of at least like doing better insults. But again, with all of those pushbacks, women still make up a good chunk of gamers. In 2024, aimcontrollers.com, which I believe is a site that's making controllers, and they have targeted women because they realize that this is making money. But anyway, they write the following statistics. Data shows that women make up about 45% of the gaming community. Interestingly, according to the Global Gamer Study report by Newzoo, 36% of women see themselves as gamers, and 31% stated that others see them that way. So even the women who, again, I would be one of those women. I don't always call myself gamer because I'm like, I'm not technically, again, not doing the PC stuff, not doing anything that's like competitive outside of, I just caught a fish. And it's this unique type of fish type of conversation, which is still gaming for sure. But like, it took me a while to like, oh yeah, okay, I'll go there because the amount of time I spend on my phone playing games.
Yeah, me too.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Anyway. But again, it goes on to say that most popular gaming platforms among female gamers, according to Newzoo, is mobile devices, and as many as 44% of them play exclusively on them. I have gone beyond the exclusive part.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you know, I play a little bit on the Switch and I play a little bit on the other one, the Steam Deck.
Nice. I want a Steam Deck. We got one. That's some gamer stuff there.
I'm not good at it because it's too big. Yeah. That sounds like a girly statement. And I say this, not sexist, but yeah, I'm like, I can't really handle this. Anyway, but Anney loves it. Anney loves hers. And of course, we've already gone in depth about the mobile gaming world and how much of a money market it is. And just to kind of revisit with the most recent information on the current status as of 2024, here's some facts or numbers from the Entertainment Software Association based solely on the U.S. population now. This is based in the U.S. So there are over 190.6 million people who play video games between the ages of 5 and 90. Very broad, I know.
Yes. And also 61% of the population report playing video games at least 1 hour every week. And the average age of players is 36 years old. And at least 29% of players are 50 or over.
You know, I love that the fact that the median age has changed because it actually jumped from, I believe it was like 29 to 36.
That's a big jump. Yeah.
Right? Like it's jumped pretty big. And I was like, wow, okay. And I think this is that conversation about millennials coming into play as well as Gen Z and now Gen Alpha. Like we're all have now officially grown up on it, that it's become a norm.
Yeah.
And I love that 29% of the players are 50. I think it was originally like when they originally looked at it 20 years before, it was 17%. So it jumped 12% in the last 20 years, which is not as high as I thought it would be, but higher than most because we're also talking about the generation who has a hard time with technology and must ask questions like, how do I fix this? Or, the ones that write their questions as a status because they don't understand. I've almost done that before, though. I can't really say much. You know what I mean. And as expected, mobile phone games are the most used gaming platform. However, it seems Gen Alpha and Gen Z are the biggest users of PCs and consoles. So I was surprised by that, although millennials are close behind. So I feel like we jumped from like the new technology. We had the original, which were all consoles, and then then PCs, and then we got them on the phone. So like, oh, well, let's jump into that. And now we're coming back because like we like the newer systems, or maybe it's that whole like I love records better than CDs conversation.
Yeah.
Oh God, I just dated myself even more. Anyway, you know what I'm saying.
I do. I mean, if Gen Alpha is using a PC or a console, they're using their millennial parents' PC or console, right?
I don't know. Well, because think about how many editions of the PS whatever, PlayStation whatever. Are we at 5? And I know for Anney, once again, speaking for her, she buys the newest edition. And I know her gamer friends and our gamer friends buys the newest edition. My partner is pretty much stuck with PCs and he loves doing PC stuff. He's gotten back into Minecraft, which I thought was a child thing. And him and his coworkers love it.
I love Minecraft as well. Let me say that.
Okay.
I thought about bringing it up later, but briefly, I love it. And I played it since I was a teenager, and I've seen like babies play it. So that's why the game is so cool. It's like adults can play it and then babies can play it.
Yeah. As in fact, my partner's, one of his coworkers' kids, who is, I think he said that they are like 6 or 7. I could be wrong. They could be 12. I apologize. But they were younger. But he has to help them build things on Minecraft. And like they will give her things that are like gems and such. She's got them wrapped around her fingers. Like she knows what she's doing. Because he's complaining like, I had to do so much work for this and I gave it to her. Why did I give it to her?
I've played with my niece before who is like 7 or 8. And yeah, I mean, it's a great for parents to play with their kids or,
Which we're going to talk more about. But yeah, I find that interesting because it is a whole thing. And like, that's the PC. So like, I find that fascinating. I'm sure there's versions of it through PlayStation.
You can play even on your phone. That's why mobile gaming should be even taken more seriously.
Yeah.
As it is. It's obviously, it's a massive platform that people are playing games on. But like a lot of games that got popular on PCs, you could play pretty much the full game on your phone because phones are so good now. So
hello,
like, there's not a huge difference. Yes. and Snake.
Snake. That's right. So in 2023, consumers spent $57 billion on video games. And for some more detail, the top grossing console PC full games were Hogwarts Legacy, followed by Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Madden NFL 24. The fact that there's 24 versions of Madden. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think every year a new one comes out. There's probably more than 24, maybe.
Yeah, you think so? I know maybe that there's too many.
Maybe there's like a 1999 version. I don't know. I could see it.
Oh, you think they're like specific to dates? I know they're released with new players. No, I
think that's why it's called 24. I think it's because it's like this year's.
Oh, I'm dumb.
No, you're not. I don't play this game. I don't even know why people play this game.
I think there was 24, but I think you're right. It is because, I'm going to go hide in a hole. This is how little game, but thank you for correcting me. You're correct. It's 24. You're right. It does have different games. I'm gonna pretend like there's 24 out there, 24 editions. I'm going to go with it. Because they've definitely been
Samantha,
around since
you don't
1980.
play Madden NFL 2024?
Yeah, of all the games, that's the one, right?
That's your number one.
Don't get me wrong. I played Knockout.
Uh-huh.
Don't get me. I got Mike Tyson's knockout. I was really bad at it too. All right. Anyway, and I love playing with my brother, who would just knock me out and think it's hilarious, and then didn't want to play with me anymore because I was too easy. Anyway, whatever. And the top grossing mobile game is Monopoly Go, and they got me, and I spent a lot of money on it. Christina, confession.
I remember you talking about this game, and you're like, I'm not going to say what it is, but I could tell what it was, because this is like the biggest game,
which is absurd.
On the market,
which is absurd. Yeah. And by the way, I've quit since then because I got so mad because the more you spend, the more it goes up. So when you first started, they're like, we're going to get you in, which is, I think, the trick with everyone. They're like, right, we're going to get you in with this 99-cent special. We got you, this package. And then it just kept increasing. And I was like, why am I doing this? This is not going to stay with me. Like, if my phone dies, it's over. Although you can link it to your Facebook. Or if I deactivate Facebook.
I will say also, there are a lot of games similar, not the same concept, but like mobile games like Monopoly Go. I think a Kim Kardashian game that people sunk hundreds of hours into it and a lot of money. And they got rid of it, or they're getting rid of it. And people are like so upset. So it is kind of like a thing that can just disappear on you.
It's true. And you know what I recently figured out? Because once upon a time, there would be games that you could put like 99 cents, $1.99 to get rid of the ads. So you didn't have to see as many ads. They do that as a subscription system. So they're like, pay like $2.99, or I saw one that's like $9.99 to get rid of it for 30 days. I was like,
that's
what?
Wild.
What? Anyway, I'm okay.
Gosh. You're doing okay?
I've stopped that addiction. Yeah, no, I've stopped with that addiction. I figured out, and I kind of hinted at this, at like apps that help you make money by watching ads and playing games, and they get your information. Yeah. And then they reward you.
I've heard of those.
And that's been able to like feed enough. Like, I'll turn it on while I'm playing games and then turn it back off. But that feeds enough until like, oh, I got $15, so I can spend it that way.
Yeah. Which
is still not healthy, probably, but whatever. But anyway, Monopoly Go was the number 1, followed by Candy Crush and Roblox. Roblox, is that the same thing as Minecraft?
No.
No.
It's a fair assumption from if you don't play either.
Sorry
it is
to
like
those
a
who love these
blocky game. Roblox, I've never really played it, but I know a lot of kids love it, and a lot of adults are into it, and there's a lot of different games within the game, and it's very multiplayer heavy. And I think if I was younger, I'm sure I would have been all about it, because I was really into like online games where you could meet strangers, which, back then it was more risky, but hopefully Roblox now is like safeguarded.
I just saw a TikTok about them saying that they're a haven for pedophiles. So I don't know, but I didn't read too much into that. That might be a whole different conversation in itself. And by the way, speaking of TikTok, I just saw a video calling Candy Crush a Gen X boomer game, and I just want to say to that person, how dare you? How dare you? I haven't played Candy Crush in a minute, but obviously it's still making its money. And to call, how dare you?
I mean, you could play it at a Dave and Buster's, so come on. Kids are playing it at Dave and Buster's. I think it's like a physical machine you can play at arcades.
Really? That makes sense.
A lot of games are like that, yeah. Nowadays.
That makes sense. And of course, because of these profits, the companies suddenly realizing that women are on the rise in the gaming world. I think it's now, I don't know if we mentioned it again, it went from 45% being women to 48% women being the gamers. So with that, many companies have jumped on board to include women outside of being just, overly sexualized characters. And here's a bit from an opinion piece in the MichiganDaily.com about one writer's beginning and love for gaming. And she writes, "The rise in female gamers has forced the gaming industry to adapt in order to accommodate its growing female user base, with some companies achieving more success than others. My favorite video game is Fortnite, and they have been successful in gaining and maintaining female users by creating more female skins and fostering an inclusive environment. There are new TikTok trends celebrating female gamers recently, like the Fortnite girlfriend, where men post clips of their girlfriends playing Fortnite. And the trend is pretty wholesome. The girls struggle to learn and play the game like any beginner, but their boyfriends support and encourage them. By positively reinforcing female gamers, like in this trend, the industry can maintain its growing popularity among women."
I did want to say that I have seen this trend. It is, it made me laugh. It's pretty funny. it does like reinforce like, oh, women aren't as good at this game, but it is funny and it's wholesome. It's not like outwardly like, oh,
demeaning
my
women.
girlfriend is horrible at this game. It's just like, maybe, yeah, she could be a new player, and a lot of like Fortnite's a hard game. I mean, it's also a game that's like anyone could win or lose. But
I mean, the interaction between my partner and I is I play a game to a certain point and then I can't beat them, and then I have to be like, you beat them. I'm tired of this game. To my partner, and they do that.
It's like the modern day opening the pickle jar.
Yeah, it's the Luigi's Haunted Mansion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I struggled towards like with the bigger bosses, and I couldn't figure out how to use both bubble version. What is the other character?
I never played that game, but I want to. People love that. I do love some Mario games.
It is super cute, and it's like you collect all these things, and I gave up too quickly because I was like, I can't beat this boss. And I had to get my partner to go beat him. Like, I've had those situations.
I've done that.
But it's been a minute. Before. I should go back and try to play it. But yes. Oh well.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that trend is very funny. And I know that we've talked about how gaming has become a way of connecting people, not just through that online community, but families and partners as well. Just like with you asking your partner to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, according to the same ESA statistics, families have used games as a form of bonding. 83% of parents say they play games with their kids. And at least 51% play with their kids weekly.
Which I find interesting. Now, I think we've known about the siblings playing together. I mean, except Anney and I, whose siblings are either way more competitive or just mean. Like, Anney told stories about her brother, like, making fun of her, which she was better, and they did not like that. As for me, I was worse, and they did not like that.
I remember being a kid, and I have two brothers, and I remember being a kid and, like, me and my sister, and I have a sister, we would sit there and just sit on the floor and watch them play games. But they would play like the early Grand Theft Auto games, and my sister would like run to my mom and try, like, be upset and be like, if they hurt a woman in the game, it's really easy to run people over in that game, and so she really didn't like that, and that's always a funny memory for me. But like, even just watching, right?
Hey, I get it.
Yeah. Playing with your kids, though, I mean, yeah, that's like I think one of the coolest things about games.
It really is. And I'm wondering with parents joining in, perhaps because millennials are now the parents, are the ones that have the children. And this being more recent, I think that could be a big change because we grew up. And I say this as ex-millennial, Gen X, like right on the cusp, and not having children, but being the age that my nieces have grown up, or watching like my friends' children, like they play these games. My generation started kind of like really being into these games. Don't get me wrong, there was all these games before we had the different systems, but with like Nintendo coming out and PlayStation coming out, all of those, Xbox, that was a whole different level, especially with handhelds. Having Game Boys, which was, I think, the first for us, and then having like smaller PlayStation, like all of those that you could have portably, that changed a lot of perspectives in what was a normal pastime. And I think that's really interesting to see as they play with kids, because we still game. Like, that's still a thing. Obviously, we saw the rise in 50-year-olds still playing, like more of them playing games. The fact that millennials are still heavy into like console games as well as PCs. Like, this is a big thing still. So I think that has a lot to do with like that bonding time.
Yeah, and it's easier than ever. You could play cross-platform a lot of games too. Like, I think Roblox, the kid could play on the computer, and if you're a parent, you want to play with them, you could play on your phone. Or same with Minecraft. It's really cool that way too. So like, even if you don't own multiple consoles or multiple computers, there's still ways that you can play fun games that adults and kids both enjoy playing and play them together. And like I said, I played Minecraft with my niece before, and she's great at it. And it's funny because I played it when I was a teenager. So it's a game. Games are now like living on and getting updated. And I bought the game like 13 years ago, and I could still play on the same account, and that's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. That's cool. And partners have become more involved with things like the Fortnite girlfriend, which I've never seen, but also like girlfriend reviews. It really like opened and expanded her world from like being the partner that watches her boyfriend to being the person who is trying the games as well and reviewing the games as well, and then flip-flopping about the different games. They as like a duo have made tons of money and have like been able to solely focus on that as their career and like bring other people to be interested because it is a funny take on different games. And I think it kind of was what my partner, because when I was initially starting to game through like Switch and all of that, I didn't until he was like, watch this, I think you'll like this game. And it was partially watching those YouTube videos and being like, look, she thinks it's fun. You should look at this type of level. And it was interesting, at least like the way they put that perspective. I also love making fun of my partner when he dies in the games. I think that's also enjoyable. But hey, bonding, right?
Oh, yeah. Couch co-op games are just another way. I think to me, the perfect game to play with a partner because you can be on the same television if it's a split screen situation. And I love those types of games. Like It Takes Two. I know I've recommended that to both you and Anney before. Have you played that one?
I haven't, because we got mad about Overcooked.
Overcooked is so hard. It's way better than that. I mean, there's probably some fighting that could happen with It Takes Two, but I highly recommend that game.
I just get annoyed.
Yeah, like those types of like little fights that don't really matter. But that's a really good like couple game to play.
All right. I'm gonna play with them, and then we're gonna come back and talk about it. Is that a game that you and your partner play?
Yeah, I've played that before, and it's like a split screen, so you just need one TV, and then your two characters who are working together to kind of beat the game, and it's really good. It's a really good world too. It's like miniatures and toys and stuff, and it's very cute and fun. It's not like it's not too serious. Yeah.
Okay. Because in the Overcooked, one of my problems, Overcooked as well as Super Smash, I can never figure out which one mine is. And I start looking at the wrong one and I really get frustrated.
Do you ever do that when playing Mario Kart?
I fall off so many times. I'm so far behind that I know which one is me.
It's so bad when you think you're somebody who's doing really well and you're like, whoa, I'm going to win. And you're actually like, at the last place.
Yeah, you've been stuck and the cloud guy has been lifting you up the entire time. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not bitter about these games. Anyway, but I'm wondering if that's It Takes Two is anything like that because I'm like, where am I?
I think if you just know you're on the left or the right, you should be good. And you can play as I think the male or the female. So
okay, I'll have to try to remember
either
that.
One. Yeah.
This has become a whole tale of why I fell. Yes, and as women continue to take more space in gaming, we are seeing the same on the competitive level, as we've kind of been talking about. But as expected, it's been filled with many obstacles and roadblocks. And honestly, this is an episode on its own, so we're just going to briefly look into it. And according to womensgame.org, this is an organization that was created like way back when. And there was very few of them. And this is in 2020. We have a global average statistic of 22% of women in gaming, as in the industry. And in a recent survey of the global top 15 game companies, only 16% of women are represented in the executive teams, and the number of women working in any role or competing in esports is around 5% or 1 in 20. So it's very, 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 very small amount of numbers. And here's some more sad statistics from a 2023 article titled Women in Esports, Current Landscape and Ways to Enhance Their Successful Participation. This was a statistics paper, kind of a theory paper about getting women in esports. It says, it is vividly reflected in the female share in esports earnings. Dota 2 currently is the most lucrative game for esports players. And according to the BBC, only 0.002%, which is about $6,300 of about $235 million as awarded in Dota 2 competitions up to 2021, has been won by women. So literally just $6,300. This is to remain largely unchanged, as at the time of writing, none of the teams that, according to current standings, are likely to compete in this year's Dota 2 World Championship that include a woman. Based on data gathered by esportsearnings.com, Sasha Scarlett Hostin, a Canadian playing StarCraft 2, is currently the top female player who won the most prize money in esports overall, which equaled to about $453,507. And in the list of players with the highest overall rankings, she is ranked 487. The next woman, and I'm sorry, this is going to be bad, Li Xiaoming, or Lion, on the list with earnings of $241,510, does not rank among the top 1,000 overall. So currently there's only one woman in the top 1,000 of esports players with the highest overall earnings in the world. Apart from this marginal female share in esports prize money distribution, the female underrepresentation at the highest level also make it difficult for women players to acquire additional revenue through sponsoring and other brand partnerships. Currently, they largely miss out on chance of capitalizing on esports' rapid growth.
And some have tried to say it could be because women aren't as interested, but they also have some numbers on that. Quote, the female interest appears to be profound, as the female audience share already is significant. In Europe, for example, 37% of the esports audience in 2022 was female. Given the high share of women engaging in video games, the number of female viewers can be expected to grow. The reasons thus seem to lie deeper. In relevant articles and on platforms, it is often claimed that a hostile environment for women is created in gaming and esports. The field would be embossed with sexism, harassment, bullying, and cultural bias. This is seen to be coupled with the unfounded belief that women perform worse than men in esports. This would lead to a reduced likelihood of entering the path of becoming professional esports players and breaking through as competitive players in comparison to men. Another reason could be that the tendency for women to become more and more engaged in gaming and esports is a development of rather recent years that goes hand in hand with a general societal development towards gender neutrality. Male players who are now successful in esports likely started playing at a young age at a time when gaming was still seen as an activity mainly reserved to boys. They thus may have had a head start on the way to becoming a professional player.
Right. And we've talked about that before, about the fact that the expectation is that boys will play video games while girls play Barbies and house and cook and all of that, which, we've already talked about the very specific gendered road that parents may play for their children. And it could be this conversation because esports, even though it's not in my world, I know is very, very, very popular. They are celebrities. People who are in the top 10 are celebrities. I know I've seen content in South Korea where they have their top players being almost as big as some of the K-pop people. Not internationally, but definitely nationally. And they can make a lot of money. For the fact that this is like that one player was able to make $241,000, but is not at the top rate, that's insane.
Yeah.
And that's probably without too many sponsorships either. So from pocketgamer.biz, they say, a new blog post has broken down the disparity in pay between male and female esports players, finding that while 147 people worldwide have become millionaires through esports, all of them are men. In fact, no woman appear among the top 400 players. And again, that means only one woman appeared out of the top 1,000 players, which is insane, especially when we know that 48% of gamers are women. So some examples of pay from different countries that they give are as follows. Finland is identified as the country with the greatest disparity between men and women, with the country's 10 professional female esports players earning just 7 cents for every $100 that a man does, a difference of 99.93%. Over a year, the average female player can earn $332 compared to the $459,925 earned by men in the same field.
And the quote continues, while other countries pay female esports players far better than others, no country comes close to pay equity. Chile is identified as the country with the smallest gap, with female players earning $8.59 for every $100 a man makes, representing a disparity of 91.41%.
Right. And then they say about the U.S., the United States, which came in 10th place, has female players earn an average of $3.42 for every $100 earned by men. However, the lucrative esports scene in the country means that they can earn more than any other country, with an average income of $24,509 compared to the $716,128 for men. So obviously, we're talking about this as a job and career. You can make some money. And it's according to whether or not you have that opportunity. Once again, they talked about how young boys oftentimes start earlier. But obviously, I think we know that the times have changed with the growing numbers of women in this community.
I was going to say, it reminds me of how we're seeing older people play more games, and that's because they've had games when they were younger. So hopefully we see those, numbers of women in these esports grow because, the times are changing and young girls now are maybe just as likely to get into competitive games as boys are. So, in some amount of time, hopefully, this disparity is way better.
Right. And I don't know with the numbers for the esports specifically with the competitors, if they're adding like Twitch stream numbers, because we know that Twitch streamers who may not be competitive can get a lot of money. We've talked about that before, and we've had a whole episode about Twitch specifically, and those kind of platforms that allow for esports players to make money and make income. So I don't know if that has been averaged with the competitors specifically with the different levels, because we know there was an article about FIFA who hosted an all women's World Cup of esports, and that was specific to try to make the difference in the gender gap in the sport. So there's a lot to have in this conversation. Again, I think we're going to come back because I do want to focus specifically on esports and the women in that specific field.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it. But with all of that, obviously there's a lot to be changed. There's still a lot that needs to happen with the growing community as well, about opening and being welcoming to all the marginalized, because we haven't even stepped onto what it looks like for the Black community, what it looks like for the queer community. Because there's a lot to unpack. Obviously, we talked about how they are seen as characters, which is still not cute. You have sent me recommendations. So let's have a Christina's corner, gaming corner, and you give us recommendations, your loves, your least loved, and recommendations for me.
Okay. I will fly through some of these because I have some good ones. Okay.
Let's go.
I think the first one I want to talk about, which, I don't think you were as into, but I did recommend it, was Stardew Valley.
I tried, Christina.
I know. Maybe you just keep trying, actually. You have to keep trying.
Okay. I gotta try
No, but I get why maybe it wasn't your favorite, because it is like a fighting game in some aspects. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a farming and dating sim inspired by Harvest Moon. And that's just like a very vague way to put it. There's a lot more that goes to it. But yeah, you play as a farmer who inherited your land from your dead grandpa, and you live in this town called Stardew Valley. And basically the main plot is there's two routes you can take. You can either help the town return to its former glory and basically run Joja Mart out of business, which is their local capitalist Walmart type business that nobody really likes that much. They're kind of the evil people, but yeah, you could either choose to get rid of them, or you can actually choose to help them. And I like that about the game, that you can kind of go the evil route, and it doesn't really change the gameplay as much. If either one you choose, it kind of makes it easier or harder, but I like that about the game. But yeah, there's a lot that you can do. You obviously you farm, you make crops, it's a dating sim, like I said, so you date people. It's kind of fun. And, people in the community who play this game, they like to argue, who's the best person to date. And that's pretty fun. And for anyone who's ever played it, my first husband is Harvey. I recently divorced him. Yeah, I recently divorced him. I'm also dating everybody right now, which could be a problem for me. If you know, you know.
Well.
So yeah, I've been trying.
But you have witches in your village too?
There's one wizard.
Wizard.
There's a
Okay,
wizard.
okay. I
You can't
remember
date him
something
though,
like that.
unfortunately.
Oh, oh. That probably could turn out bad if you break up.
Yeah, he has a whole plot about him. I won't go into detail, but
Okay. See,
very
I know I've not
interesting.
gone far enough in. I will say my partner really started really getting into it and was very excited about it. And then, like, he let his farm die.
That happens though, and it's cool because so there's 4 seasons, and you have to kind of strategically plant stuff and to sell it to make money, and also gift it to
Yeah.
people, and
Yeah.
that's why the game's kind of fun is that there's like a strategy to it, and also there's like mining and fishing and
Yes. He loves the
monster killing.
mining.
Yeah, mining's super fun, and I know that that's probably an aspect you didn't like too much because it's
I
scary.
couldn't get out of the house at one point, Christina, because I was so confused. All right. Like that was a whole like day of like, how do I even get out
It
of this
is
damn
like
house?
you're trying to beat the clock in that game. There's like that's definitely an aspect, but that is one of my favorite games. I play on the Switch, and
Yeah.
they're finally getting an update. There was like a
Okay.
recent update that's pretty big that's coming to the Switch, and I'm looking forward to
Ah.
that. I'll be playing that again. But yeah, that's definitely a game I recommend for anybody who's into that. So if you look it up and look at the art style, some people aren't into that like pixelated
I
top
like
down stuff,
that.
but I like
That
it
is something
too.
that I did like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I already mentioned Minecraft. Minecraft is another game I got really into when I was a teenager. And what I like about it is that you play with other people. Multiplayer gaming is really fun to me, and building stuff, building
Yeah.
houses and farms. And
Oh.
I played it during COVID with a bunch of my friends who are all like over 30. And I think that's funny and cool that like adults like this game. And
Yeah.
it was great during COVID because we couldn't hang out, so we would get on a voice chat and talk and build a town essentially with each other, and that's fun. And
Yeah.
okay, so I have two honorable mentions. I love these
Okay.
games. Like I said, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, awesome game. It's only like a year old now, but very fun. Maybe not the coziest game, but some people call it that for some reason. That game's really cool, and as somebody who never played any of the Zelda games before, I still really liked it, and I didn't have to
Uh-huh.
know the lore. It definitely helps to know a little bit, but you learn as you play,
Right.
and you don't need to. And then
Okay.
another game that it's kind of funny that I play that people are like, "What?" I don't play it that seriously. I got it on sale once. I think it was like $2 on Steam, but it's American Truck Simulator.
Wait,
Yeah, I know. That's what people
what?
say. And I even went as far I thrifted a physical wheel that connects to the computer. So I'm like driving
Oh, that's
around. And it's actually like
amazing.
meditative and fun. And you can play with other people and have like a convoy. And it's just kind of fun.
That's
It's
pretty
it's a little
amazing.
challenging, and it's really easy to crash your truck. And basically it's a driving simulator, and you're a trucker,
Okay.
and it's kind of fun.
I feel like I've heard of
There's
this.
a really popular Europe truck simulator that people love a lot. A
Okay.
lot of simulator games are pretty big, like farming simulator and
Will I fall off
train
the edge?
simulator. You can definitely crash, but it's
Oh,
kind of
I'm
funny
definitely
when
gonna
you
crash.
crash. It's like if you're in
Okay.
like a convoy with people. I remember like cry laughing playing this game and like pretending to be a trucker and like do trucker lingo and stuff. And it's very
Something my partner
silly.
would love.
And the controller
Okay.
is funny too. I mean, you don't need that. You can play with a keyboard,
Oh,
but
I want one now.
I know it's pretty cool.
That's the only way to play.
And the last name I wanted to mention, which I actually think I want to recommend to you,
Okay.
it's called Tchia. Have you ever heard of it? It's
Tachia, no.
Tchia. I think I played it on a console. It's possibly on Steam as well for PC, but it's like this super fun, cute, open world game where you play as this young girl
Hmm.
who is in this fictional land that is based off of New Caledonia. So they do a lot of like good work about
Oh.
like referencing, the natives of that country,
Oh.
of the land, and it's really cute, it's really fun, and you play as this girl who's like I think trying to save her town, and she can soul jump into animals, so she can like her soul can like jump into an animal, and then you can be that animal and run around, and you could fly around, you could be like um a wolf or something, or a deer, and you could
Ooh.
it's really a beautiful game, and it's there's not any super crazy fighting or anything. It's I would say a cozy game, but it is
Okay.
open world, so you have like this giant really cool world to explore. And I know that the studio that developed it, the founders are from New Caledonia, and
Okay.
they were really inspired by the Canuck culture. hope I said that right. And they're just the indigenous Melanesian people of New Caledonia. And it's very cool. And I really like that aspect of it. And they show that culture, even though it is like a fictional, world, that it's heavily based on this area that I didn't know too much about before. And, it was so beautiful and so cool. And I feel like you would like it because of that. And also it is fun and cute. And you do play as a girl, like so many games we know. It's awesome. It's touching. I think I cried in a good way at the end. Like it's really good. It's really touching and really well made and very beautiful and easy to pick up and put down. And Tachia. I recommend that to anybody.
Tachia. And you said it was on console. Can I do it on Switch? Can we get it on that?
Actually, yeah, it is on Switch and on Steam. So it's available on everything. Yeah.
I'm gonna look at it. All right, I wrote it down. So, because that sounds awesome. I love when you can learn about things outside of and cute lore.
Yeah, it feels very cute and informative and respectful of a culture that maybe doesn't get a lot of, media recognition or stuff like that.
Right.
So it's really good.
All right.
But yeah, those are my games. Stardew Valley, Minecraft, Zelda Truck Simulator, which is fun. I don't know if it's cozy.
I'm gonna have to borrow your wheel then.
Anytime. Anytime you can borrow my wheel. That can be a whole podcast. A trucker, like you're a trucker doing a podcast.
I'm a trucker yelling at people. I love it. I love this so much. Thank you so much for coming on again and giving us so much good insight and these amazing recommendations that I have written down. I just wrote them down and I'm going to look into. And of course, thanks to you. And if you have any suggestions, listeners, I'm always down. Y'all have given me so many that I really need to get back on it. It's been a minute. I'm gonna need these other suggestions, as well as if you have any thoughts. I know y'all do. You guys have tons of thoughts when it comes to this conversation we're having within the industry. If you're a competitor in esports, we would love to hear from you. Tell us about your experience, because that's like a whole fascinating thing to me. You can do this by emailing us at stuffmediamomstuff@iheartmedia.com. You can message us at Instagram or even on TikTok or even on Twitter at Stuff Mom Never Told You. We have a book where we do talk about gaming characters and gaming in general. Anney, because she's the expert, we miss you. You can find this in our books. Wherever you find books, you can order it. Independent bookstores, all the things. Thanks, of course, to our super producer and guest host, Christina.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you to our executive producer, Maya, and our contributor, Joey. Thanks to Anney, whom I miss, but she'll be back soon.
I miss Anney.
I know, I do too. And of course, thanks to you, all of our listeners. Stuff Mom Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.